Imagine you're directing a movie. The main actor walks into a room, says the line you wrote, leaves, and that's it. Now imagine halfway through the filming, someone in the audience decides to stand up, do some Bruce Lee shit on a random side character, I don't know, climbs onto a roof and just refuses to continue the story. Congrats, you're now making a video game. What I actually wanted to say with this was that a few nights ago I was watching Batman Begins, and one thing that has caught my eye is this scene in particular. Now, this is one of the best scenes in the movie if you ask me, because it really shows how Bruce developed from a billionaire to becoming Batman and the hero he actually is. And while watching this scene multiple times, a lot of times, I've come to a realization that making a video game is actually harder than making a movie. Maybe even way harder. Now, I assume you never thought of this, or even if you did, you probably didn't go to the depths that I'm about to go in with this video. The first thing we need to cover is that video games need animations for everything. That includes running, jumping, swimming, walking, crouching, fighting, I don't know, whatever, if there's skating, if there's flying, if there's anything, they need animations for all that things, and they need actors to do all those things so they can, I don't know, motion capture them, I think it's something like that. Then they need to animate all of those things, which is genuinely way harder than in a movie, because it's harder to capture all that and to animate it into a game, because movies just don't need all that. They just need the director who decides what happens, and if you mess up, you're gonna do that scene again and again and again until you do it how the director wants it. But after some time, you're gonna get it right, hopefully in like less than few hours. But in a video game, the actor needs to play that scene right, then the animator needs to animate that good, then you need to double check on all that. It's pretty hard process. Also, video games have limited engines, so I'm talking like Unreal Engine 5 and all that. I don't know any engines besides Unreal Engine 5, but they just can't take up something and execute it that easily. They have to think, will it work for that engine in which they are making the game? Because if it doesn't work, then they cannot genuinely do it, because what's the point of doing something if you can't make it into the game? Whilst the movies, they just think of something, do it good, and that's basically it, because they don't have to worry, will the engine support it, can the console support it, can the PC support it, minimum requirements for the PC or the console that you have. It is like you just need a TV or a mobile phone or any screen and you can watch the movie. It doesn't matter how good or bad that screen is. Everything must be interactive. Now this means that the same scene must work the same way if the player has, I don't know, a different skin, if he arrives late, if he finishes all side quests before that scene, if he ignores some objectives, if he does some talking to the other NPCs before that, if he just skips that cutscene. The scene always gotta work the same way, gotta bring the same thing at the end. After the movie, same scene happens every time, no matter what. You just can't change it, you have no ability to change it. You can watch it again and again and again and imagine that you're changing it, but yeah, you just can't do that. But all of this is still not the real problem, because it all assumes that the player is playing the game in a perfectly normal way. But let's be honest, the realest problem while making a video game is that everything exists together. Every punching animation needs to be followed by a different way of enemies taking a hit and reacting to it, which also means that the AI needs to act accordingly to the stuff that the player does. So if the player hits him, I don't know, in the balls, AI needs to hold his balls. If the player hits him in the face, AI needs to hold his face. You know, he needs to have a scar on his face, or he needs to genuinely fall and can't get up. It doesn't matter. It also connects and means that AI affects performance of the game, which means that the performance affects physics, because if the performance is not good enough, then the physics will not be good enough. So you get what I'm saying. Everything exists together, and you just cannot think of, I don't know, Batman punching someone if you are not able to make an animation, thousands, even hundreds of animations of Batman punching that guy and that guy falling on every different ways. I don't know. It's pretty hard to think of all the animations and all the stuff that you need to do for a simple task. So the point that I'm actually trying to make is that every action in the game changes what will happen, and sometimes players do unexpected stuff that even break the game. Let's say glitches or some things that developers didn't think you were going to do that way or didn't think about it. You know, there are multiple shortcuts that developers just didn't care about, didn't notice, which players notice later, which also makes the game more interesting but also more harder to make. And all this happens by combining mechanics that the game developers just didn't think about, or skipping some intended progressions or shit, and even playing out of order, basically just skipping some important stuff. Let's say you don't want to play the main story, you're just gonna jump straight to the side quest. You can bump up your character to be like, I don't know, level 150 and shit, whilst you should have been like a level 2 with the with the part of main story you are currently in. And with all this that the player can do, the game must not collapse, and it needs to have a solution for everything that can be coincidental, because if it doesn't, then it's gonna get a whole lot of hate. And just fuck the hate, it's not gonna be the complete game, it's not gonna be complete and fully, it's basically gonna be a demo, you know, or early access. So the actual real burden is that a movie only needs to work as, let's say, a finished product that the viewer should watch and be entertained by, because you don't know what's gonna happen in that movie, but also if you knew, you couldn't change anything. But in a game needs to carry all the work of unexpected things that can happen, and everything I said so far, I don't want to repeat myself 100 times. If you do something unexpected in the game needs to find a way the game needs to find a way to make it look not so unexpected, if you know what I mean. Now, with all this being said, I'm not saying that making a movie is easy, and hell, there's shit and a lot of stuff that I don't know about making games and making movies, but I tried to be as objective as I could, though, yeah, there is some subjectiveness, but I really tried to be as objective as I could. And also, if I see good support on this video, I will maybe make a part 2, talking about like stuff that is making movies harder to make than a game, because there are a lot of stuff, but this was just an idea that I thought of, and like why not execute it? Tell me what you think about this in the comments, and see you in the next one.